Welcome to Voice Rising with Kara Johnstad. Enjoy weekly conversations with leading luminaries, pioneering visionaries, singers, poets, musicians, and sound healers as we explore the profound role our voice plays on the path to self-realization and global enlightenment. The internationally acclaimed singer, composer, author, healer, recording artist, voice expert, creator of Voice Your Essence, and founder of the School of Voice, Kara Johnstad uses her extraordinary spiritual gifts to empower others. Everything in this world vibrates. Everything has a frequency. A pioneer in the field of voice work and transformational songwriting. Her breakthrough methods are helping thousands of people worldwide fine-tune their body-mind-spirit system and unlock the energetic frequencies of limitless creativity, health, and abundance. Share your voice, ask your questions, join in the conversation. Receive life-changing, positive transformation and rise together to create a sound world. And here's your host, Kara Johnstad.
Because I knew I did not want to look back, like you said.
Hey, everybody. Yes, welcome. Hi, Miten.
It's not wanting to be that way.
Nice to hear you, too. Right. We're going to dive into some big questions today on how we can fine-tune our... Yeah, big ones and little ones.
And
maybe the really big ones on how to fine-tune that body-mind-spirit system through sound and songwriting and my goodness, and also which we have to catch ourselves on radio if we dive into that soulful silence that is behind it all, right?
It's underneath it all, Carrie. Yeah, it's underneath it all. It's where the music appears from, and it's where the music disappears back into at the end of the song or the mantra. So we exist in the silence, and then everything can appear from this space of silence, which is the way we've learned to make music in the ashram,
Right, I know that. Yeah, those famous 5 fingers. Do you see my 5 fingers? Or do you see this space between my 5 fingers? Right.
The space is where the music is really created. It's in the silences between the notes.
Right, the pulsating silences. So let's start in the here and now, which we've already done. Share with me a little bit about where you are in this moment musically. Do you have any new releases?
I'm happy.
Because you're bringing out so many things all the time, new documentaries, new music, So do you have anything in this moment that you're working on that you're going to release?
I really, really do. Yes. I think the last count was about 22 or 23 albums, and It's just like we've tapped into this well of creativity, and we can't really put a stop to it. So it's good just to let it flow. Who wants to stop it,
Right.
So we let it flow, and last year we made a beautiful album with some great musicians. It was called Deva, and Deva wanted to record the new Gayatri Mantra, the 7 chakra Gayatri Mantra, and this year since I had a heart operation, I guess last year, and the world suddenly takes on different perspective, and you see life differently, and some songs came, so I thought, okay, this is a good time to put these out while they're present in me, in the way that songs live for a long time, don't they? You know that. And there was a few old ones and these new ones that I wanted to record. So we went into the studio in Australia when we were there and started to record with the band. And this was good for me because usually I play the acoustic guitar. That's been my instrument for years, even on Deva's albums. When I was producing them, if I wanted a guitar player, I would bring electric in. We were in Australia, and I saw a young boy busking in a farmer's market one morning when we were there getting some vegetables, and he was playing a electric guitar, and a light went on in my head, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to review my youth and pick up an electric guitar. And the guitar that the guy was playing was a classic rock guitar. It's called a Stratocaster. And so I just bought myself one of these legendary guitars, and we did the whole album, and it's just makes such a different texture to the music. It opens everything out, and so we had such a lot of fun and just playing this music and allowing it was live. We just played basically live, and allowing the moment to arise, and without any structure to go into verse, chorus, solos, etc., etc. So I let the thing roll, and so some of the songs are like 10 minutes, but it's really a beautiful. I'm very, very happy with it. It's a great journey, and we're just finishing it now. With Joby is actually, when I finish talking to you, we'll be just finishing the last minute edits and the little tweaks, and it will be coming out very soon. I want to get something. We had a beautiful song there called "Into Your Hands I Lay My Spirit," and it's become like a gospel, a real feeling of a gospel piece, So it's been quite a journey for me to be so involved again, because when you do an album, it's not like there's it's a lot of responsibility, and there's a lot of inspiration and intensity. So I've been full of that and been in the moment of creating, and one of the things with creation also, especially with a record or CD, which means you get the reflection of yourself. When you sing live to your friends, that's the moment, and that's it, and it's there and it's gone. With a CD and with recording, you can hear, can we change that? Or, and then you have to know when to stop. Because it's the creative process is the most important for me, is that we capture the moment. I'm not so into perfection. I like to capture the moment. For me, that's perfection. And so if there's a mistake or something, if the energy feels right, that's okay. We're playing live. We're human. We're bleeding. We have blood. We have breath. We sing, and we don't pretend that everything is perfect. And I think that's what has somehow come between real feeling and this perfection, this quest for perfection that many of us musicians get tied up in, with the digital world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's not only musicians, it's everybody. It's photographers, it's everybody who's keeping themselves back from blossoming full time because they're worried about not being perfect, right? And then they're forgetting to look at the flowers that are either not yet open or are maybe wilted. They're forgetting to really listen to the cracks, and I know that with voices too, we have a lot of admiration for great singers, and then they're so packaged perfectly. And the truth is, if you really start listening, they also have some cracks going on, and they also have some nuances that are not just polished away. It's at least in the older, recordings of jazz and blues and, this kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's my music too, I like the reality of music. I like listening to people play in the moment. I like that more than constructing something that's perfect. That's also has its it has its worth. You have the possibility to paint the picture exactly the way you want it, and but for me, that leads to all kinds of neurosis. I think I prefer to see life as it is, and that really, I have to say, that was one of the great teachings with Osho in my life with Osho. We didn't have days to prepare our music for the evening meditation. Osho would tell us, in the afternoons, and we would prepare something if we wanted Zen music or Sufi music for this discourse or whatever. And we would put it together, we would do sound check, and then an hour later there would be a few thousand of us gathered, and that would be the music, and it would be in the moment. And that, for me, that was a great gift. It was the power of the moment. All is welcome in the moment. If you're in the here and now, it's a gift, whatever comes. And so when David and I began our journey, which was now almost 30 years ago, that's when we met.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. We've been like 24/7 for that long. We just flow in a very harmonious and sweet way, without needing to go into too many counseling or marriage guidance or whatever. We've just been in this amazing flow. She's 23 years younger than me, so it's a kind of an extraordinary connection in a way that we could be this good and this friendly for so long. But we did say to each other when Deva eventually found a voice, and I could help her to learn how to sing on a microphone and move into this a voice that she obviously had and it's developed over the years. But we promised ourselves we would not perform, inverted commas, neither in life nor on the stage. So it's been very easy for us to be able to share, because we don't have anything to live up to. It's just what happens with the mantras. We're very much in service. You can't really perform a mantra. If you try and perform a mantra, it becomes cheap. It becomes obviously not. If you emote a mantra, you're going in the wrong journey.
You fall into the moat.
Yeah, you fall into the moat, right? And you get wet. And it's
crocodiles come.
Yeah. But with music, with like my lyrics, of course that's a different thing. And so she's had to learn how to be able to sing an English lyric without seeing it in her head as a word. You and I, when we sing, or your students are asked, when we sing a English song, we don't need to see the words in our heads. We know the sound of the emotion that the word represents. So it's been quite a journey for both of us. But I have some great singers on this, especially for the gospel piece. We recorded it up in Canada with some really good singers.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's a beautiful album. I'm calling it Devotee. And
that's that was a missing piece. I was like, that's a mystery on the internet still. I was like, what is the name of this album? I had rumors that there were rumors. You're bringing out a new, more solo song album. I mean, of course, Deva is present always, but more, instead of the mantras, the songs, Devotee.
Yeah,
love it.
Devotee, yeah. I thought to myself, when I look at myself now, I feel like, if there's one thing I've learned, is that devotion to life is a good place to be, and I think that helped me. The heart operation was a great teacher for me. It was such a help, and I feel now I'm moving into my 70s, and I feel like I'm not counting years anymore. I'm just floating, just kind of floating in this creative world, and with my beautiful friends and my wife and the music and the traveling, and I really consider myself blessed, that this could have happened. I didn't expect it. I didn't have any idea that I was going to pick up being a musician again.
Yeah.
That happened after I came to Osho. Before I was with Osho, that was in the 70s. I was a professional musician in London and touring and being in the music business, and it just about finished me off. So when I came to Osho, I just stopped. I didn't tell anyone that my previous work was as a musician or anything, and I just came into the commune, chopped carrots and washed the vegetables and washed the rice basically for years, until I felt healed, and then the music came back, and it came back in a way of, as a way of expressing my gratitude to the master, because he definitely saved my life in many different ways, and then later meeting Deva, who also was not a musician or singer. So together we came into music in the ashram, and that's where all this music basically is born. It like I was saying, that the silence of meditation is where the music always begins.
Yeah, I mean, what did you feel, Miten? You've been living I'm sure doing yoga and meditating and being surrounded by beautiful music, and you live literally the open heart lifestyle. So what did your heart feel when you received that news that it'll be opened just a little bit more and a little bit more? Is that the devotion that comes in? I surrender to this mystery.
Yeah,
I mean, I can.
exactly.
Yeah, is that the? Because you can't get much more open than, physically opening everything up on top of it all. Right?
I guess so. You know what, Kara? I never really considered it, and when I look at it now, it was like it's as if it was a dream. I have the scar to prove it wasn't, but
little zipper.
Yeah, I have a zipper, right? And I was. I didn't feel, I can't say I felt any huge, what happened actually, now you're talking about it, is that there was a moment when I realized, maybe it was a week or so, I'd left the hospital, and I realized, okay, the mind is stilled, and they anesthetize the mind, but my body was totally present, and it was wondering what the hell's going on. They've got this sore, and they're soaring down, and I realized that my body was traumatized, and I think that's a thing that would obviously happen. And I dealt with it very, like I do most things, in a very intuitive way, and I was in my friend's house, which was overlooking the ocean, so it was a beautiful time to recover, and I would cover myself up and shake and tremble for hours, and I could see that the trauma was leaving. It was so violent once or twice. I even chipped a tooth, but it was my journey. I felt like, I'm in a birth canal here. I haven't really I haven't really been born again, but there's something happening, and then a week after that, after this, this journey that I felt I was on, I had all night long, the most incredible catharsis happen, and David just held the space for me, and I just let it come. I didn't want to hold anything back, and it was one of those moments when the pictures look wrong on the wall and everything's wrong, and you're just crying and screaming, and everything is going off, and and I kept going back to the well because I wanted to get to the deepest part of myself so that the tears could come, and it kept coming, and just before dawn, it started to subside, and eventually, and I asked David to put the Gayatri mantra in the room, and and I lay down on the bed and we cuddled together. We just held each other, and we let the Gayatri just wash over us. And it was an amazing moment. And the next morning we woke up, the sun was coming through the windows, and I looked at Deva and I realized that was the birth. This is it. I'm reborn. And from that moment, I haven't looked back. It's been an amazing journey. Within 6 weeks of that, I was back on the stage and being able to play one or two songs. We put a band together for Deva so she could continue with the tour schedule that we'd had. And, I was on the tour, supported the thing. I played a little, and then we were in Peru. We had a program down in Peru, and then we were in the Amazon rainforest, and I'm walking through the forest thinking, what the hell happened? It was, it went from this hospitalization in Houston, Texas, to being
the channel, right? To being the channel. We're going to take a short break, Miten. We're going to be back in just a little bit.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Conflict comes in many forms and often triggers a fight-or-flight response. Some of us gravitate toward conflict, while many will stop at little to nothing to avoid it. Unfortunately, what we resist will persist, which often forces us to face our fear and deal with it head-on. Join me during my show, Conflict Rising, as I discuss the important role of conflict with leaders who have moved through it successfully. Tune in Thursdays at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, it's always darkest before the dawn.
With happy clients all over the world, Kara Johnstad knows that your voice is the missing link to more authenticity, abundance, creativity, and health. An internationally acclaimed voice expert, Kara's breakthrough methods have helped thousands of people successfully heal their voice wounds and extinguish the story of self-doubt and shyness forever. Join in group trainings, attend online sessions, schedule one-on-one time, and invite Kara to work with your organization and community. Get started today. Go to www.karajohnstad.com. and receive a special guided meditation designed to fine-tune your inner voice and welcome you on the voice journey.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
We are back. You're at Voice Rising. I'm Kara Johnstad, and we're back with Miten talking about life and silence and open hearts and being on the journey and journeying home. And Miten, you had just shared before the break that you had this incredible experience, and just through devotion, through surrender, your body was able to I would say, deepen the connection, become the channel between heaven and earth that you are, that we all are. And it was, for you, one could say maybe an awakening moment. Or I don't know. It's terrible to put labels, but yeah.
Yeah, it felt like a rebirth. That's the closest I could say.
Yeah.
I think, there was definitely this feeling of a psychic told me that I had an exit route. I had an exit door at one point in the whole thing, and I chose not to take it. I don't consciously know anything about that, but it did feel like when after the operation, I looked back and I said to myself, why did you do this? Why were you so scared to die? You were 70 years old. It's a good times. You've had a good life. Dava's young enough. She's still got a life ahead of her. And it was nature's way of saying, this is it. Thank you very much. And I could have said, I'll deal with the arteries that are blocked, and I'll do what I can, take medication. But I'm not going to do some big open heart thing. I'd rather just surrender to life the way it is. But I didn't think anything like that until after. And and so I found myself, oh wow, I'm a baby in an old man's body. I'm starting again, and this body is here, and it's going to gradually deteriorate as bodies do, and I'm going to be a witness to this, and so because they told me your heart is strong. Your heart is strong. It was just the arteries that were blocked. So so that was the point. So they had to deal with the arteries and make sure that they replaced everything. So it could be I'm around for a long while, watching this body slowly, do what bodies do. So it's an interesting time to be alive for me, especially with the way the world is, with so much trouble and so much misunderstandings and aggression and fighting. It's just so intense right now, and I feel like, I sometimes feel like, if the governments knew what me and David was doing, it's very subversive. They probably wouldn't like it, So that makes me feel okay. We just keep doing what I'm doing. Sometimes I thought, well, maybe next year, I'll take some time, But, honestly, Kara, what would I do? All I do is sing anyway, and play guitar and produce music, and it's not like it's not brain surgery or anything, Actually, I have a brain surgeon friend, and he came to Houston, Texas when I had the operation. He lives over there, so he came. And at one point, he was on his phone. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm doing surgery." There's because everything is, honestly, everything is so digitalized now. He was consulting, and they were showing him what was going on, and then he was consulting back, and this it was quite an eye-opener, thinking, it's incredible the way the world has gone so fast. We've moved from people who are connected to the earth to people who are moving so far away from the earthly nature, when our kids are not getting their feet on the earth, their hands in the dirt, they're jumping in the rivers. No, none of this is happening. We've moved from that. And, so for me, it's like, I feel like I can do some, it gives me a good reason to be alive, to be able to share such joy and such depth with so many people around the planet. I never thought this would, be my dharma at all, but it's turned out to be the way I live, and it suits me and David. Luckily, we both love to travel. Luckily, David never wanted to start a family, so all these things were perfectly in alignment. We just our family and our babies became the CDs, you know.
Right, right.
Or the other way around, the CDs became our offsprings, and in that way, just like children do, they go off into the world and they bring their friends back to see you and meet you, and that's how the CDs are. That's why you and me are talking right now. We've through the music, we've become friends and connected. We're kindred spirits. By the way, I love what you do with your work.
Thank you.
I'm sorry not to have said it before, but you do such great work with opening people with their voices. There's such a lot of damage and shame and fear around the voice for many people. It's a great service that you do. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Miten. Yeah, I believe, as you do too, we all are channels. We all carry messages, and the voice for me is this magical missing link between our heart and our mind. And, you know, that is the beauty also. You and Deva have created, one could almost say, a traveling temple spaces or nomadic Buddha fields somehow, where people and fellow travelers can meet and join in. So this is very different from what the normal, the music industry that you and I have known, or that many people still know, where you have the superstar in front. You are a rock star now with your new guitar sound, but that being said, and knowing that you've gone through surgery and everything, did you ever consider building a center, and instead of doing the nomadic temple movement, doing the ashram movement and having people come to you? Or do you just love... I can imagine the traveling is tiring, but it seems like you get so much juice from all these wonderful friends all over the place.
Well, yeah, the traveling is tiring. It can get tiring, but the events themselves are so powerfully charged that it's not you get the recharge from the being on the stage, because for us it's not so much. We see it in much more of a cosmic way. We see the musicians, and when we come on the stage, as simply completing the circle. And we see that we are a circle. When there's nobody leading this, we just happen to be on the stage because that's the way of the world. But we don't see it like that as we play. We really feel like the audience are a part of the music, and we allow that to happen, and we allow it to take whatever form and whatever colors it takes, and with that kind of invitation, people are more relaxed, more ready to open their voices and feel like, wow, sometimes Deva and I can now say, we just pull back, and the whole place is, and you can feel wow, it's us that's singing, and it's a great feeling that there's nobody leading you now. Look, we're just here supporting you, and then when you allow that form to take whatever form it wants to take, until it disappears back into silence, and that silence becomes so profound, because it's real, and there's nobody to disturb it. You're just in this beautiful moment when you realize that you are part of we call it a sangha, a chant family, where we're just all together. Everybody's the same. We're all one, and nobody's thinking about tomorrow or their job or what they've got to do tomorrow morning or what they did. Everybody's in the moment, just together. And for me, that's a great gift that gets me up in the next morning and gets me back on the tour bus, and off we go, and it's not, whatever money comes our way goes back into the thing. So we travel well, we eat well, because this is our life on the road, and everybody in our crew is really taken care of. Everybody's happy, and we we live in that way. We don't let money is not the thing. It's not why we're doing it. And so the money that does come, it means it's funneled immediately into how do we continue? How do we make the lights more beautiful? Does it need more of anything? How do we get that sound? Let's get that then, And that's the way we are with our sound tech and our lighting stage designer. We just let it come from yoga studios to theaters. I think I might have told you last time, one of our biggest concerts is in Moscow, where there's 6,000 people in a rock auditorium, and we're all exactly in that space together. And it's like, I often think this is historical, not hysterical and historical, because I'm sure that never in the history of Moscow has 6,000 people gathered to chant Sanskrit mantras and sit in silence together. That's something, and I can look out
in an arena.
In an arena, and it's very special. And whether it's 6,000 or 1,000, it doesn't really make any difference. But it's just for us to see how the world situation has created a situation like this, where people know that they need something that is there for them to nourish some part of them that doesn't get nourished in the day-to-day anxiety of life. And so the music talks to that part of ourselves that's beneath. It's down there. It's beneath the surface where we have to live to get through our lives day to day. Beneath that are our fears and our love and our, everything that we keep down. That's where we play. We play down there. So tears come easily, and laughter comes easily in our concerts, and tears come and it's not that we design it. It's just this is where the music is born. It's where it lives. So, it's not a performance, and it's not something that any of us get stressed out about. When we come onto the stage, it's just like getting in bed with Deva, really. It's a kind of tantric experience for us,
It's a love affair. Miten, hold that thought. We need to take another station break, and then we're going to be back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
I'm Kathy Williams, host of Sexy Mom Abundant Life radio show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. On the show, we explore living abundantly in every area of your life. Ways to let go of limiting patterns and beliefs and to step into the flow of creativity and possibility, knowing you are supported by the universe.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
I'm Kara Johnstad, and we are here in studio with Miten, talking about, sound consciousness, voice, and the beautiful space of silence. Miten, Osho said that life cannot be lived through no, not that I like quoting Osho, because he of course, he said many, many different things, but life cannot be lived through no, and those who try to live life through no simply go on missing life. And if you really want to do anything with your life, you have to learn the way of yes, yes, yes. Yes is beautiful. So you had a big shift this last year, a big rebirth, and now are working on and almost finishing, right? The new album, The Devotee. How has just saying yes and not, I know this very much, not saying no, like, oh, I need it to be like this, or we need it to be like that, or just say yes, one big yes. How has that changed you, or do you live that every day? Do you just say yes to coffee instead of tea? Yes, if somebody offers you, I don't know, a trip to the zoo instead of a trip to the Philharmonie? Just one big yes.
That's the thing. Do you go to the zoo or the Philharmonie? And what it means is that you say yes to, while you're saying no to somebody, there's a yes on the other side of it, and that's always the same. So it's not that, it's still discernment, it's not that you just say, yes to a train wreck or something. What you say yes to is your sensibility. And so it's easy when the no comes to feel bad about that because you're saying no, or you can feel good about a no too. You say no, I don't want this, I don't want it, thank you very much. And what you're saying is also yes, I want this, what I am here. Right. So you see what I mean? So the yes, the yes is really like, it's about staying in tune and staying with the flow. That's what I think Osho meant, because you're right. He would say one thing and then contradict himself the next day or something,
Yeah, I realized. Yeah, I had a quick mirror moment talking to you, because I thought that he probably wouldn't have liked even being quoted, even me pulling out a quote, So suddenly I was like, oops.
Oh no! It's beautiful. It's beautiful that you bring it up, And but that's my understanding of Osho's teaching. Really, it's be responsible for yourself. He never said to us, do this, you have to do this. He never said, this is a perfect disciple. It wasn't like, you have to conform to certain rules, as in most religions, or you don't have to wear a certain thing. We did have to wear red for a start, but I think that was in the early days, and it was kind of a apprenticeship, really. Like, it was just sorting out those who were interested, then those who really were very much wanting transformation, and that way was to say, if you really want to come to me, or if you really want to hang out with me, I want you to wear red clothes, and on this. And so some people said, no, thank you, it's not what I want at all. And other people said, I don't care. For me, for instance, I was like, wear red if that's the price of transformation, because I saw in Osho a rebel, and I saw truth, and I just saw love. I saw very clearly. So, but I didn't know until I came into the community itself that it could actually be lived. I could actually rub all my rough edges gradually over the years of being in community and become a smooth pebble as opposed to a, you know what I mean? And Riverman, you became a smooth. The Riverman became a smooth pebble. Maybe that's the next album title. Oh, that's a good line, actually, Kara. Maybe we should write a song together.
I would love to. Miten, what would you like to see? We talked a little bit about, the disarray of our world. At the same time, we do see really powerful movements happening, courageous people stepping up for the environment, for the climate, for women's rights, for LGBT rights, there's a lot of courageous voices out there at the same time. What would you like to see manifested in our collective reality now?
I think it's going according to plan, I don't think there's anything to wish for. We're not here to... I don't think this is about consolidating anything. I feel like as humans we're on this planet to learn, and whatever time we find ourselves, we're here to learn. And what we are here to learn is the key. And for me, I think I've learned to see that it's very important to prepare for death. And the best way to prepare for death is to live your potential as a human being in life. Do whatever it is that calls you for the good. And we're not going to be able to stop anything. I don't expect humanity to be able to save itself. When I look at people, the politicians, I just don't think they have any idea. I think they're basically their concept is to keep the economy going, to keep the world turning. It's not to do anything other than that, really. And so the side issues are, the ice is melting really fast up in the Antarctic, or it's a different. For me, I feel like I'm a little drop on a wave, and I'm enjoying the ride, and I won't be here much longer, and I'm just doing my best. And I think, I feel, for me, I don't mean to discourage or to say anything negative about the people who are called to work for the environment, because they are the heroes. These people that are out trying to keep the plastic down on in the oceans, and like you mentioned, these people are the heroes, and Dave and I, of course, involved in that and do our best to support. But on an individual level, I'm not holding out any big hopes. I'm just doing my best while I'm here, and that's it. I have a new song called "I've Given Up on Hope." I've given up on belief. I've given up on the dreams that brought me no relief. I've given up on Facebook. Enough is enough. But I've never given up on love. And I think that's the way it is for me. I'm just hanging out in a place where I can respond to adversity with love and with understanding and compassion. So sometimes people write to us and say, "We came to your concert," and some lady wrote to us and said, "We really didn't like the way Miten disrespected Deva." And so we receive that kind of projection and that reflection of something that somebody saw of us, and for us it was absolutely, Deva had said to him, "Miten has never disrespected me in his life, so don't. But these things happen, and we don't like it when you ask the men to stand up, because it separates. What about if we're transsexual, or what then? So these things come to us, but they're received without being defensive. It's part of the voice of our family, and I see now that I'm part of this big global family that you are part of too, Kara, and the people at OMTimes and all of us, all the people, we are a collective family. We're all sharing our light and our love of life, and I think as long as we're doing that, we will die in a very happy way, and I think that's a good way to go, you know.
It is a very good way to go. I mean, I guess then the essence is, how do we, stay present to exactly what you're saying, staying in love, right? It sounds a little bit too simple, but the fact is, and that's what is always amazing to me, also when I, sometimes, have the pleasure of listening to you and Deva, one does feel the beauty, the pulsating silence, and also that soaring beauty of the tunes that is presence, that is intimacy, because we are in time with each other. And that one, what I find so phenomenal is that one concert can join so many hearts into a single heartbeat, and one CD can nurture and nourish so many people, whether they're in a bedroom, in a hospital room, in a yoga studio. I mean, it's phenomenal work that you are doing for the collective, and I think that is the only way to go, is exactly what you said, is if we each rise or even fall, I don't know which words it is, if we each arrive and say yes to what we carry within ourselves, right, in a loving, kind way, the world will work itself out, and it is like it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the way the world will work itself out, or not. But in the meantime, we are being authentic and we are sharing, and
right.
And that's really that means that what we share is a ripple, and we are responsible. If we really want to save the world, the only way we're going to do it is by rippling out a sense of compassion and friendliness. And it's complex because it's not. There are plenty of times when if somebody came, the obvious example is if somebody came and wanted to fight Deva, I would fight back. I wouldn't. So what does that mean? So it's a very complex situation that we're in as human beings. We are complex species, and we still haven't worked it out. We've been around for a long, long time, humans, and we still haven't worked it out. We still haven't learned how to hang out and live, like in a way. There's always conflict. I think that's a clue. It feels like, hey, wait a minute. If there's always conflict, then it must be that we're here to learn how to deal with that, so that we, because if you're stressed, it's not a good feeling, and it's not a rewarding feeling. So there must be a way to deal with life, so that we can accept that there's conflict, but it doesn't prevent us from flowing in a loving way, and to somehow to accept, okay, other people have different views, okay, but what happens when that view doesn't correspond with mine? There's your problem. So in the end, it's just like, well, what can you do? You just live the best way you can and give what you can give, and live and die in that, and I think if we're all doing that, that's all we can do. We obviously, there's no way we can stop the overpopulation increase. There's no government is going to say stop making babies. It's just not going to happen. So it's just a natural energetic phenomenon that we're in. I'm 70 something now, so I've seen a big increase, a marked increase on humanity from when I was a child, and I see it. It's not something, that you don't notice. I see it everywhere. When we were in Peru, we went to, we took the group to Machu Picchu, and it was so crowded. You had to go in a stream, and you couldn't even get out of the stream, the stream of people. And this is a tiny little mountain up in the middle of nowhere in Peru, but there's so many people now. We all want to be there and see it, there we are. It's just so many of us. It's not. Again, it's not some sort of mysterious question. It's the truth, and so we have to live with that. We have to find a silent space within ourselves because you see, that's the thing. Is when with meditation, that's our only hope, really, because that means we can close our eyes, and when we go inside, that's our world. Nobody else gets in there. No religious dogma, no government. Nobody can penetrate that world inside us. So we look and we say, am I at peace in here? No, I'm not. I've got this going on, that going on. So meditation is the act of sitting with that and not moving, not saying I've got to do that then. It's the act of actually non-doing. And if you can spend an hour a day, and so it's something. For me, I don't do that so much anymore. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, thank you. That is my message of hope, Miten. Thank you so much for being with me today. I'm very blessed. Yeah. Okay. And let's end on that note. It's love, and it's also just, finding that relaxed space of deep meditation.
Yeah, okay. Love will take us all the way.
Love will take us there. The Devotee is your newest album, and I look forward to listening in. I hope to have you back again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kara. Yeah.